Okay. We're rolling.
We're live?
We're live.
Recording?
We're ready to roll.
Hey everybody, Shawn Camacho, the real estate guru. Guru community, how are you? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited with my buddy here, one of my good friends from high school. Man, stay tuned. This is going to be amazing. If you have passion about other people starting businesses and following their dreams, and if you have an idea in your mind and you want to take action on it, this interview is going to inspire you.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing, we want to talk to the guy that's sitting on the couch that has the idea but has yet to get up and do something about it. Man, you're going to hear a story about a guy that had an idea for 10 years and did nothing with it, and then all of a sudden went all in. Literally, this is all he does. He's building a company from the ground up, and you're going to hear about what it is that you need to do to make it happen for you and your family. So we'll kind of roll right into it.
Before we ask Bart Walker, our special guest, a few questions. In the back, go check out jackgraceusa.com. Please share the video. If you share the video, we're going to pick 5 winners that will get a Jack Grace surprise. So if you share the video, we'll put your name in a drawing, and you might get this nice hat right here. You might get a beautiful pair of golf shoes. And go to jackgraceusa.com. Check out his site. It's amazing.
Awesome. So let's kind of start with your story. Give us, I think the thing that's always most intriguing about entrepreneurs is, what was your background? You weren't like a caddy on the golf course. You weren't rubbing shoulders with Tiger Woods every day. Jack Nicklaus wasn't calling you to design his golf courses. What is it that you were doing?
No, I was a mortgage lender out of college, and then I became a business banking officer at U.S. Bank, and I was lending money to business owners when they wanted to buy a piece of real estate. And through that, I went out to Gilbert recently. Well, I guess it was not so recent now, but I went to go do a site inspection, and I had a buddy that I went to junior high and high school with that had a business nearby, so I went over to say what's up to him, and I was really impressed with what he had built for himself. So I asked him a little bit about his story and how he got started, and his was a $2,500 loan from his mom, and one thing led to another, and he probably had 40 employees working for him. And
That's awesome.
That was sort of the spark that lit my fire and let me sort of think to myself, people I know can do it. I can do it. And so that was the day that I decided to take the initiative. And at first it wasn't, I'm going to go quit my job tomorrow. But it was, hey, I've had this idea. I think it's a good one, and I want to pursue it. So I made a commitment, and I told him, his name is Dan. I told him right then and there, I said, Dan, you've inspired me today. I'm going to go home and work at something that I've thought about for a long time. I'm not even going to tell you what it is, but feel free to check up with me in a few months and see where things are at, which he did. And I think he was happy with what I had done with it. So that's where it all started. And that night I went home and sketched out the design on a napkin on my dining room table.
$1 million napkin right there.
That's where it all started. I think it was June 19th, 2015, if my memory serves me correctly.
Man, I love that. Listen to that. He didn't, so many times you think like, you got an idea, I got to go quit my job tomorrow, jump in, live broke out of our Volkswagen down by the river, right? You just started running with it. So what was the first, after you sketched it out on a napkin, what was the first thing that you went and did to take action?
Sure. Well, I set a goal, and my goal was to make one shoe. This was all just an idea that I solved the problem that I had. And I think most people that are watching this all sort of have that thing that they wish that they could solve. Everybody has that idea. The only difference between me and the person potentially watching this is that I just pursued it. But what I did was the next day, so I sketched it out on a napkin, and the next morning I took a shoe from the garage. I took it into a cobbler, and I said, hey man, can you cut this thing up, sew it up, and make it kind of do this? And he agreed to do it, and he was kind of backed up. He's a pretty talented guy. And he was backlogged about 6 months, but I somehow managed to jump myself to the front of the line. And
That's awesome.
That's
tenacity right there.
I was passionate about it. I needed the project done, so that's what started it. And so I had that first prototype, and that was really my goal, was just to make myself a pair of shoes that change colors. And so we achieved that, and everybody who saw it loved it, and that kind of continued to fuel the fire to keep me moving forward.
So what's important, what I'm hearing from Bart, is you definitely have to have the vision, big vision, but it's about that one victory at a time. Just get that victory. Keep moving forward, victory after victory. And his first victory was to get a sample.
Yeah, I'd say that's exactly right. Set an achievable goal.
Chop the tree down.
That's exactly right. Just say, what's the next step in this process, and then just stay focused and dedicated and get that next step done. And then, so, the next step after I got the shoe done was, is this a protectable idea? Is this something that, could be proprietary? So I went and I met with a patent attorney, and we did some research and spent a little bit of money and felt that it was something that we could protect. And that was sort of the next stage in the evolution.
That's awesome. And then you also mentioned to me that you learned as an entrepreneur that you need to connect with other people. And I kind of shared with you, that's what we're doing with the Guru community, is we want to pay it forward and give back to other entrepreneurs. Can you give us a little bit of input on that?
Absolutely. So I tell people all the time, people want to say, do you own a shoe company? And I say, no, I don't. And the answer is I don't. I'm a shareholder in an idea and what I've done. So this is the real raw story about how this company got formed. I mentioned that I got involved in the patent process, which is pretty expensive. And so I have 2 young children at home. Their middle names are Jack and Grace. That's the name of the company.
Love it.
JackGraceUSA.com, on fire.
I appreciate it, Shawn. Oh man, you get me all distracted.
You're talking about the patent.
The patent, yeah.
And connecting with other people.
So what happened was, it was a lot of money. I think it was 15 grand was the number to move forward with the patent. And obviously with 2 young children, and I'm not Mr. Moneybags myself. My wife said, well, why would we spend 15 grand on a hobby? What are you going to do with it? And so it was a problem that I had to solve, and I just, I was undeterred. I was like, well, how am I going to solve this? So I sent out an email to just a very, very few select group of friends and family, and I was fortunate in that my best friend of 25 years forwarded that email to some individuals that can help. One of them was an attorney, one of them was a CPA. They called me and said, hey, we love what you're doing. This looks fantastic. Here's how we can help. And that was really how the company got formed. And it even got to the point where my boss at the bank saw how passionate I was about it, and he encouraged me and actually even reached into his pocketbook to help me pursue this dream. So that, as of right now,
I love it. Be so committed your boss at work wants to invest in you.
That's yeah. I don't know if that'll happen to everybody, but I was pretty fortunate to have a really great boss, and so that's what I do right now. That's as the person kind of heading this up, I couldn't do the bulk of this by myself. So now I just kind of view myself as the steward of a good idea, and I just need to guide it down the right path. And so, finding somebody to help me make a quality shoe that was going to be comfortable. I found some guys that worked at Nike and Adidas. The guy who basically developed the very first Nike Air Max, the window. He's the guy who helped me develop the shoe, and then.
So the quality's there. That's awesome.
The quality is there. They're made in a fantastic factory. My cousin is the graphic designer. So I just keep continuing to find out what is the next piece of the puzzle that I need, and reaching out to my community to find those resources. And I've been really overwhelmed with the response, because people generally want to help. If they have a specialty and they can help, more often than not, if you're a good person, they're gonna come around and help you out, just like you're helping me right now.
I'm holding this, and you don't understand the quality. I mean, this is like picking up an Air Jordan that you paid $240 for. So talk about what it is that because you're really bringing a totally unique product to an industry that's been around since dirt. So talk
wooden clubs.
Yeah, exactly. So what is it? What is it that I'm holding?
Sure. So what you've got there is a golf shoe, and the reason why it's a golf shoe is because golf was specifically the reason why I wanted this shoe. But I think that there's different incarnations of this in the future. I just had a need, and my need was I like to coordinate. I like my gear to look a certain way. And I was always sort of disappointed with the shoe offerings that were available in the golf space. So, if you go into...
Don't let him fool you. This guy is a pretty boy.
So if you go into a golf retailer, there's lots of options for hats and belts and all the different accessories. And then the shoes were just kind of lacking. And so I thought, well, man, there's got to be a good way to interchange, change the color of your shoes more significantly so than changing the laces. So this shoe basically can change colors. For example, I can take off this saddle, and I can swap it out.
Go Devils, baby.
That's right, go Devils.
We're gonna turn it into a Sun Devil golf shoe.
We're going to turn it into a Sun Devil shoe, and so we can do, corporate logos, and a couple NCAA schools were licensed and ready to go. So now I've got an Arizona State shoe, and I can change it to really any one of these 24 different colors quickly, easily, and in a way that I can tell you, I went to the PGA merchandise show a couple weeks ago, and not one person, including guys that have been making shoes for 30 years, held the shoe, and unless I told them what it did, none of them knew what it does. So it's seamless in its execution, and then a lot of people want to know, does it really tighten the shoe? And the answer is yes, it tightens the shoe, so it is a competitive grade golf shoe.
This is the Uber of golfing right here, man. This shoe, I mean, it's amazing. Don't forget, share the video. We're going to pick 5 winners. If you share the video, we'll put your name in a drawing, and 5 winners will win some Jack Grace shoes, hat, and we'll surprise you. Don't worry, Guru community. And I want to talk about this momentum. I don't know if you heard it. Bart was just at the PGA Tour. I mean, you hear his story.
The merchandise
show, yeah, where all the vendors come and stuff. This is a good high school friend of mine. I'm so proud of this guy. I mean, it inspires me to be a better person, and I mean, I've known this guy for 20 years, and to hear that it started with a napkin, man. You drew the shoe on a napkin, and then you were just at the PGA vendor show where you're showcasing this. So, Bart, I'm proud of you, man, and
well,
keep going. And I mean, like you said, you got to connect with other people, and it takes a lot of hard work, but one victory at a time.
I gotta give 2 people credit real quick before we get off here. My wife, she gave me a solid piece of advice that I've used that's guided me throughout this entire process, and that is make something awesome and people will want to be a part of it. So that is my sole drive, is just make something awesome. Sometimes I get to the point where I don't know how to make it awesome, so I reach out to somebody who can help me make it awesome, and then keep driving it forward. And then another good piece of advice that I got early on was to take the word "I'm trying to" out of your vocabulary. So instead of saying "I'm trying to build a shoe company," I just tell people I am building a shoe company.
We are.
And so at first, maybe I think some people would have said that's not really accurate. You're not really doing it, but the reality is that it's switched in my mind over time. And then, so as a result of me just saying it, I took myself more seriously, other people took me more seriously, and we moved the needle significantly in the last year and a half.
And our message here is, you sitting on the couch watching this right now, man, you live in a place where you can get up off of your butt and make something happen for you and your family. I mean, you're going to hear stories all throughout the rest of the year of guys. The reason we wanted him to share his background is because so many times you think, like, to come up with an idea like this, you had to have been born into a family that, like, eats, breathes, and sleeps golfing. Our country is about solving a problem. And sometimes, like with this is something they didn't even know they wanted or needed, but they do want and need it once they understand that it's out there. And man, that is powerful. That's the nation we live in, man. And
that's actually the Jack Grace USA. That is the USA part of it. That's the American dream. So it's my kids' middle names, and then the USA represents the American dream that I'm fulfilling right now.
Love it or hate it, we still live in the best time ever and the best country ever to be an entrepreneur, like my man Bart Walker.
Yeah.
Guru community, thanks for watching. Share the video. Go to jackgraceusa.com. We would love to put your name in a hat and help you win some of this Jack Grace swagger. Wait till you see the next interview, and if you know anybody that should be interviewed, please message us, Terrence or Shawn, and we'll help them out with the Guru community. Have a great day.
Guru community, we'll see you at the top because it's way too crowded at the bottom.
Woo! Good job, brother.
Awesome.